But often I say to people, what's your dream? And they say, I want to escape the matrix. And I say, but will you? And I see in their eyes the flicker of doubt. They're confused by the question. Andrew, I want to escape the matrix. Will you? They don't know. They have no idea if they will or not. They don't believe if they will or not. They've never thought about that. It's easy to think about what you want. It's difficult to think about what you're actually going to have and do, because then you are accountable for that. Now you have to take action. I want lots of things, but I know which things I'm going to be able to do and which things I'm not going to be able to do. So please understand the matrix operates on different levels. They convince you to not try and escape. If you do want to escape, they convince you can't. You must believe in yourself and you must test yourself. You must become so brutally competent that you know there is nothing you cannot achieve. That's the idea of demoralizing your opponent. I'm an Aikido master because I take my opponent's attacks, like put me in jail, and I Aikido it and use it to become the most famous man in the world. You're not fighting without fighting. It's avoiding a fight in the first place. And sometimes I sit around here above the peasants below in some penthouse, in some expensive apartment of some of them expensive 5-star hotel. And I look down at all these people and I wonder, do these people truly believe they can even escape? Do they want to escape? See, the Matrix has different ways of controlling you. The first thing it does is it come along and it tells you, rich people aren't happy. Money isn't happiness. Don't try and get rich. That won't make you happy. Just get in loads of debt. That'll be better. Get a degree. That's what they try and do. First, they try and convince you that you don't want to escape. So you say to the fish when he's in the fishbowl, it's nice in the fishbowl. What do you want to leave the fishbowl for? It's great in here. But is that because they love the fish, or is that because they're in charge of the fishbowl? For those who are perhaps too intelligent to fall for that garbage, then what they try and do is convince you can't get it. They demoralize you. They come along and say, well, not everyone can be rich like Top G. Not everyone can be a billionaire. Look at the statistics. Look where you're from. Look at your skin color. Look at your socioeconomic background. Look at that idiot beeping his horn. Some garbage reason for why you can't get out, why you can't escape. They demoralize you. And I sit here and I wonder, as I look at the peasants below, a large proportion of them don't want to escape. Well, I don't want to be rich. I just want more time to relax. Losers, slaves. Enjoy the oncoming enslavement, which is going to be bestowed upon your bloodline because you are a fuck up and you deserve it. Then you have the others who want to escape, but they don't believe it's possible because they've been demoralized. They have fallen for a different type of sound. And I wonder, if I were to ask you, do you actually, truly believe in your heart that you can escape the Matrix? Do you believe you can do what I have done? Do you believe you can make $1 million a week and buy a new car every week and get arrested and become more famous and doesn't matter and come out and have all these famous friends and travel the world and all these women can adore you? Do you actually believe in yourself, or have you been demoralized? Self-belief is something that is purported and pushed. It's something that is advertised by a bunch of people. You got to believe in yourself. You have to understand, you don't have to believe in yourself for all the hippie garbage reasons they're giving you. You have to believe in yourself because every single time you're going to want to do something which is exceptional, you're going to have to suffer. And the only way you can suffer is if you believe you will reach it to the other side. You believe it will work in the end. If I set you on fire and I tell you that eventually, in 15 seconds or so, I'll put out the fire, and you believe me, you'll be able to sit there engulfed in the flames of poverty, and you'll be able to meditate and use your mind to resist dying because you believe it's coming to an end. If you don't believe I'm ever going to put the fire out, you're done. In fact, you're toast. And the reason for that is because you cannot endure the pain required because you don't ever believe you're going to get to the destination you are hoping for. To get to the end, you have to believe in yourself because you're going to suffer and it's going to hurt. And the only way you're going to get there is if you truly believe you're going to make it. So when I ask you, do you believe you can escape the Matrix? Do you know what you want? Do you believe you can achieve your dream life and not be like all of these other idiots down below who don't want to escape, or don't think they can escape, or think it's too hard, or think it's too difficult? Do you truly believe you are that guy? Because not all of you are going to make it. But the ones that do make it are going to be the ones who believe they can make it. I always knew I was going to make it. I knew I couldn't be like all of these brokers. Couldn't do it. Couldn't be a brokey. Couldn't be a wagey. Couldn't be a workie. No, sir. I knew I deserved better. Had to be a way out, and I found it. You have to believe in yourself. I want you to go out there and do difficult things so that if you ever doubt yourself, you can say, well, I succeeded in this situation. Why can't I succeed in that situation? I became a 4-time kickboxing world champion. I survived a Romanian dungeon. I survived the matrix attack of cancellation. Why can't I succeed with X or Y or that bitch? Anything. That's the beauty. But my self-image is built in brutal competence because I've been out there and been a combatant against the matrix for so long. I know I can't lose anymore. You have to go out there and do difficult things on purpose so that you believe in yourself. And then you have that self-belief, which is built on real-world experience. And your real-world experience is put you skilled, and you believe you're going to make it out. And nobody else believes it, but you do. In your heart, inside, you know you will escape the matrix. And that is how you're going to escape. I think a lot of people build their mindsets around trying to feel good. So that's why we were talking earlier about people who want to ignore the idea of personal responsibility or self-accountability because they feel better if they pretend it's not a real thing. They feel better if they pretend everything's someone else's fault. A lot of people's mental model and how they view the world is based around them feeling as good as possible. So when you sit there and talk to somebody who has the mask on and they refuse to believe the elites are laughing at them, it's not because they can't comprehend the ideas. It's because they feel better if they don't believe that they are a clown to the elites. I feel better if this is really all innocent and it's really all about a disease. So people are they're basing their mindsets around trying to feel good. I have always tried to base my mindset around absolute competence regardless of how I feel. And there are certainly disadvantages to that. There are times you're going to be a lot more pessimistic, or you're going to be a lot more stressed, or a lot more, pissed off about certain things than others. Yeah, that can be seen as a downside. But like I said, I use all of those things for unlimited motivation to propel my endless upward trajectory. But if you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good. Andrew, they took $10 million out the bank because they canceled you. Good. Good. That's just my response. Good. Andrew, this happened. Good. Now I'm really pissed. Good. This mindset I've constructed allows me to be as fearsome a competitor as possible. It allows me to be a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor, and that's the point of a mindset. Why would you have a mental model or a mentality that made you anything less? In the ultra competitive world that we've just discussing that everybody wants the things you have, why would you absorb information or construct a mental model that doesn't allow you to be as competitive as possible? I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. It doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano and you're going to learn, and that guy's Andrew Tate, you're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I can't even play piano. But part of them is going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, but what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even... How I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. Zuby's here soon. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. I didn't cross my mind if I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work. So I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions, because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell the fucking difference. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the fucking time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. It's why I say depression isn't real. I've argued this point endlessly. And I try and explain to people, but they're not smart enough to understand that I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care. I am more competitive as an individual if I don't believe I can become depressed. So I don't give a fuck if I'm right or wrong, because no matter what bad happens to me in my life, even if, heaven forbid, the worst things on earth that could happen to me, I could never become clinically depressed, because I would never self-diagnose myself as clinically depressed, because I don't believe in it. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better. I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself, because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness, because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. To the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual.
My only weapon against all of these people and all this garbage is to smile. There are people sitting in a dark room right now. There are people in a room right now as we speak, full-grown adults, professionals, trying to put me in jail. There are teams. There's a prosecutor and his underlings sitting there, analyzing my entire life, every message I've ever sent, everywhere I've ever been, and what I've ever spoken to, ever. As we speak, trying to put me back in a dungeon. At the same time, there are people sitting around trying to cancel me, get me off the internet, make sure I have no influence, no work. They're sitting there. They've frozen all my bank accounts, have taken almost 20% of my car collection. Almost. They've put me in jail, and they've done all this to me, and they're sitting there trying to attack me, and I smile. That's my weapon. That's my weapon. They go to jail. I don't care. And that resilience is how I fight against them, because I believe this is a spiritual war more than anything else. The reason they're trying to attack me is because I'm seen as a hero to so many young boys, and that inspires bravery in the young boys. So they're trying to kill the hero. So I can't allow them to make me sad or miserable or depressed. I refuse. I refuse. I will smile in my jail cell. I refuse to be afraid or scared or depressed. Happiness wins. Love wins. I'm happy. Shoot me. I'll smile. If they were to come and put a gun in my face and say, time's up, I'd say, I knew you were gonna bang. That's the weapon. What else am I supposed to do?
Are you still having nightmares?
My nightmares are gone, and you know what? I'm gonna be very open about this. I'm genuinely sad about that.
Sad about what?
My nightmares leaving me.
Right.
Because it was a new level to the game of life, I guess.
New experience.
It was interesting. It was kind of fun, you know, like before I go to sleep. In jail, I had that. There's my room. I'm glad I went to jail in the winter. I guess it'd be a lot worse in the summer, but there was a really bad infestation of cockroaches, and they were always in the blankets. And when you slept, you got warm, so they'd all the insects and bed bugs, everything would try and attract you. So you'd wrap up and put your trousers in your socks. And I had like a pillowcase I put over my head to stop them getting in my mouth. And like there's insects everywhere. Yeah, it's like on the celebrity. They're all over the ceiling. And for a while before I go to bed at home, I'm kind of like looking in my covers for insects and stuff. And I catch myself doing it, going, this is unique. You know, before I go to bed, I'd check all my stuff, and then I get in bed and I'm not relaxed, and I think there might be something crawling on me, and then I go to sleep and I wake up in a panic. But the whole thing to me was almost I was almost observing it in the third person. I was almost like, oh, cool. This is something I've never done before, and I got a lot of training done. You have to be good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on his best day. On the day he feels motivated and gets out of bed and wants to fight and he's raring to go and he's on the top of his game, and you feel the absolute opposite. You want to lay in bed. You don't want to move. You don't want to go anywhere, but you have to get up and have to fight this man. You have to be good enough to beat him anyway. You have to be that good.
Don't hold on. Rit down. I'm on that. So I don't tell you what the is like. I got my they don't understand and that's the same. It's something in the head. I got a bullet with your eyes gonna provoke you. So close your eyes as I stick this clock out to your fist and in your mouth. So get ready for the blood. Cause this is one, two, kill.
Sorry, that's just the sound of me being monumentally rich. Despite the fact they're trying to stop me from being monumentally rich. They're trying so hard to stop me being rich. Wait, what's that I can hear? Is that a DBS 770 that my brother's driving? Yeah, it must be. Oh, hello, Tristan. Jail, please.
Who has? Just us two. Oh, your fault. Oh.
Nathan and Andrew have been looking for a cheap hotel for well over an hour, but haven't been able to find anywhere within their budget.
My unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm.
Hello.
Hi.
You look really nice.
Thank you. Let's do two kisses. 1, 2.
Very nice to meet you. What's
Very
your
nice to
name?
meet you. Andrew Tate. What's your name?
Andrew. Nice to meet you. Triangles. How did you get here today?
I flew in.
Flew in. Different? Something different?
Yeah. Up in the jet.
You're in on a jet. Who is this guy?
I don't know what's in my mind. What all this if you get out there, one behind the seconds for the Britishness, all the rest my field of my identities. I feel as every this area of space. I know that I can't hide.
Anyone who knows me will tell you, if I'm awake, I'm working. The second I wake up, I'm on my laptop till the second I go to sleep. First thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. I only enjoy work. I like to work. I like to feel proud of myself. I don't want to be happy. I want to feel proud of myself. Tristan, back me up. Have I ever said I need a day where I just need a day off? You ever heard me say I need a day off?
No.
Ever.
Hi, Tristan, nice room. No, my hotel room was broken into. I've been told my hotel room was broken into. And I know who broke into it. You know who broke into my hotel room? No. It's Andrew. I gave Andrew the key, and he broke the door.
I'm only passionate about things that massively improve my life if I win my current battle against the Matrix. Once I crack the Matrix and destroy it, I will become the most powerful man on earth. Relevance to achieve interviews and get views they would never normally get to spread hateful propaganda. If you can't afford me, you're going to have to go back to just lying about me without speaking. Because God knows the truth. I know the truth. Most of the world knows the truth. And I genuinely believe that Allah is the best of planners. And whatever happens to me, regardless of whether I am martyred, regardless of whether they put a bullet in my brain,
I know what I have done is good for the world, and the things I will do will continue to be good for the world.
I have absolutely everything I could ever possibly desire. And if I wanted something that I couldn't have, I guarantee you can speak again in a few months and
Legends have always been forged in fire. You little dorks at home don't understand that every single man you can name from history was born from pain, born from fire, born from doing the things other men can't do. Respect is on the other side of fear. You're afraid. I'm not. That's why I'm different. I am built fucking different.
Impact. Let's think impact. If a person's watching this content, most of the people that are watching this, a portion is going to be those that are haters, that just want to find like poke at the argument to find, you see, I told you, fine. But a lot of people that are also watching this, they're probably wanting to make impact. They want their life to have meaning behind it. That's who's watching this show today, right? Okay. So I can't be a president, but I want to make impact. I being anybody that's watching this. Because Putin says 8 years, another guy comes, or the guy with the briefcase shows up. Okay, cool. Well, if you were in the States and you're saying president wouldn't be how to make an impact, but let's say there is a kid who's 20 years old, 18 years old, 25 years old, has so much drive, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Ambition at the highest level. Who do you think has the biggest influence to make positive change, like real change? Is it the person with the money? Is it the person with the biggest mic? Is it the person that goes into politics? What is the best way to have the biggest impact?
Yeah, so I think the world has always only ever been a battle for influence. Even if you look at the current battlefield, Ukraine is next door. It's 5 hours drive away. The battle in Ukraine is not just about tanks and trenches and grenades. It's a battle for influence. Who influences the people within this territory? Who is in charge of the thinking, the language, the mindset of people within this geographical area? Every single battle, every single pitched battle, every single argument, every single debate has always been a battle for influence. If you have influence, you're an extremely powerful person. All of us here are some of the most powerful people in the world. How many millions of people listen to us? We have massive influence. And I think you can have influence at the ground level. You don't have to be a famous podcaster or famously well-known to have influence. I would argue that those Romanian grandmas who gave me my food will remember me for the rest of their lives. I would like to believe I gave a positive influence and a positive impact on their lives for the rest of their life. I believe if you go through life and you're genuinely a good person, and you try your best to be good to people, and you're honest, and you shake hands, and you don't lie, and you're on time, and you work hard, and you're good to everyone who's good to you, I think you'll have a massive influence. And I also believe, I truly believe that God is extremely giving. There's the saying, goes around, comes around. Completely true. But I would say it comes from God. God is keeping an eye on you, and he's paying attention to you, and he knows the kind of person you are and the kind of things you do. And I don't believe if you're actually genuinely a good person all of the time, that you're not going to get some goodwill back to you. Look at my scenario. If I was being a piece of shit for years with all these chicks, I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail. I could have never seen this coming. But the fact that I was nice, paid their taxi home, bought them food, looked after them. Are you okay? I know we broke up. I'm sorry. I know it hurts. I just did it. I was nice about all of it. Here I am. I'm fine. So I could have never seen this Matrix attack coming. It's amazing how what goes around comes around. It's truly amazing. If you're good to people, if you're generous to people, if you're helpful to people, you'd be amazed how much influence you can build up. I say this to people all the time. I don't think if you're a hardworking person who is honest, who shakes hands, who tries to learn, who does what they're supposed to do, who has a good heart, that you're truly, really not going to be able to get what you want. I think the universe is absolutely and utterly giving. When I see somebody who says they want something and they don't have it, I don't even think they truly even want it. You can have anything you want in the world. When a guy goes, I want a six-pack, then why ain't you got one? If you wanted it, you'd have it. You'd like it. There's a bunch of things I'd like that I don't have. But I don't want them. Everything I've ever wanted, I've got. I've never wanted something and not had it. We all know what we're talking about here. There's things we'd like. I'd like to be able to figure skate. Not enough to go learn to figure skate.
It's a weird look if you figure, although that other guy dancing like the way you dance is doing a pretty good job.
Bottom G.
You've seen this guy?
He can figure skate.
That guy kills the dance moves.
Yeah, he's good. But
your doppelganger.
But if you truly want something, you're going to absolutely not really have it. So when it comes down to influence, I think you start at the base level, at the grassroots level.
What if this guy's got, like, you know, for example, like, you know how when you were 20, were you this driven?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so when you're 20, who did you look at and say, I can do it as good as him, if not better?
My coach, because I wanted to fight, and he used to beat me badly. Everyone used to beat me up when I was young, and I wanted to be the best. So I used to go into the fight gym.
Okay, how about communication? Who'd you look at? Were you always a good communicator? I can see you being a great communicator since you were 14 years old. I
was pretty good, yeah.
Okay, who did you look at and say, that guy's good, but I think I can, you know, do it better?
That's a good question. And I think that...
You know what I'm asking?
I know what you're asking. I don't know if there's one particular person I took nuances from, because when you're a great communicator, you know how to be serious, and you know how to make people sad and angry, and you also know how to make people laugh. There's different people who can do lots of different things.
So who was that? Was it somebody that was multifaceted like that?
I think it was a lot of different people. And I also think that...
Did you pull from comedy as well, or no?
Certainly did, but I was also extremely self-critical. I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I'll watch this podcast back 15 times. I will notice every single time I made a mistake. Just then I said, I'll watch twice. That was a mistake. I will watch this back 15 times and I'll identify every single error. I have an email list and I sign up and I get words of the day. I get 5 or 6 new words a day, which I try my very best to memorize. It's harder than you think to memorize 5 words a day, but I always try to make sure I have the most interesting vernacular I can possibly have, a wide vocabulary, so I can be very specific with my points. The reason I actually did that, I keep talking about my dad, but I'm his son. I have the same name, Emory Andrew Tate III. He was Emory Andrew Tate II. My father was a linguist for the CIA. He spoke Russian and German and Spanish and English. And I think I've told this before. Back then, when they needed someone who spoke Russian, they would take a Native American and teach them Russian. Nowadays, we have a bunch of Russian-speaking allies. You can go to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They're all NATO and just get a Russian speaker. Back then, they taught my dad Russian, and he held the Air Force record for the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. When he died, a guy sent me a message saying, you don't know who I am, but I worked with your father in the Air Force, and he had the fastest assimilation. He learned Russian in 2 weeks. Crazy. And I remember saying to my dad, will you teach me Russian? He said, boy, you don't even know English. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you don't even know English. And once he sat me down with a dictionary, I was like, you're right. I don't even know English. That's why I've lived in Romania 7 years. People say, why don't you speak Romanian? Because I don't know English yet. I need to finish the first job before I learn the second. I don't know English. There's a bunch of words I don't know. I can't speak how he spoke. So I don't have time for a second language. Yeah. Also, another thing I found really interesting, Putin speaks English. Have you ever heard him speak English? No. Because if you want to speak to Putin, you speak to him in his language. You speak to me in Russian, and I reply to you in Russian, so I cannot be misunderstood or misconstrued. I don't make a fool of myself. You can't get me on some vernacular trick. I speak my language, and I also prefer that also. I speak English. That's what I speak. If you want to speak to me, you speak to me in my language, so I will win the debate always.
Who'd you look up to outside of your dad?
I look up to lots of people.
I'm talking specifically younger age, not today. I'm talking 16, 20, 25, that age. Not today.
It's a good question. Because I always believed in trying to take the best parts of individual people and then amalgamate them. And I know you want a name, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I would look at people who I didn't even respect, but they'd have one particular thing about them. I thought, that's good. It could be somebody I didn't even like, but he dressed well. I think you just have to be perspicacious and look at people, and there's something you can learn from absolutely everybody, and just try and adapt it all. I'm not saying everybody should be clones of me. For everyone's individual, right? But there might be some things about me they find inspiring that they may adapt and take on board, and then they'll find some things from other people. But learning to speak is something I understood from a very young age how important that would be. That's a superpower.
Okay, so let me go back to the question I was asking, where I'm trying to go with this. So I asked the question, I said, imagine the 20-year-old that's watching this, that's saying, no, Tate, don't give me the answer for anybody can create, contribute to society. I'm not that guy. Talk to me like I'm 1 in a million. Talk to me like I'm one in. So if I'm willing to give 20 years, 30 years of my life to one way to go up to make true positive impact in America, my country, in the world, what should, don't talk to me like everybody else. Hold the standards. What should I do? What angle should I do?
Okay, so first things first, you need to be worthy of respect. And you're going to be worthy of respect through having things which are difficult to acquire. So first things first, the basic things, you need to be very focused on trying to make money, because people listen to you when you have money. They just do. Secondly, you need to be in fantastic physical condition, because when you're in fantastic physical condition, it cannot be bought. It must be earned. And people know that. When you're in, I don't know about you. If someone walked in to sell me something and they were obese, I would not trust them the same as if they were in fantastic physical shape. Because I'd say, I don't think you have dedication and heart. I don't think there's something about you that I just wouldn't trust you the same. So fantastic physical condition and money is the first thing. The second thing, whatever your ideas are, you need to learn how to communicate them. Speaking is a superpower in and of itself. You need to become a fantastic communicator. You need to be comfortable in all realms of communication. You need to be persuasive. You need to be comfortable arguing. You need to be good at debating. There's a lot of people out there in the world who have ideas that they can't even project into somebody else's mind. How are you going to rule the world with that? How are you going to get your ideas out there and make an influence if you can't make other people understand exactly what you think? That's the first thing. Second thing, once they understand exactly what you think, you need to make them agree with what you think. These are two different skills. Must be practiced and must be learned. If you're 20 years old and you want to change the world, you need to be having endless debates. Endless. Without resorting to name calling, not on Twitter like a dummy, in person. And you need to come across in a way that people agree with you. We can go back quickly and talk about the red pill. The difference between me, when I talk to girls on these panel shows, and every other guy when they talk to girls on these panel shows is, when I'm done, all the girls want me. Watch them. Watch the shows. I say the same thing, and by the end, the chicks are in love with me, as opposed to saying the same thing and the chicks thinking I'm a dickhead. That's the difference. I project my ideas and I make them agree with my ideas to a point where they're like, texting me afterwards. I'm not saying anything different. It's how I'm communicating it. You can catch more flies with honey than hurting people sometimes. So you need to be good at everything. You need to have a Swiss Army knife of tools. I know when to be intimidating or aggressive. I know when to come across as obtuse. I know when to come across as exceptionally open-minded and easy to understand. I know when to come across as understanding. I know all these things. This all has to be practiced. And a lot of it is, communication. I would say, if you're going to say to a 20-year-old who's truly exceptional and driven, I'd say you need to become a master communicator. Because once you can do that, you can do anything. And that fixes all the other problems, right? We talk about making money. If you're a master communicator, you do fantastic in sales. Yep. You'll kill sales. Yep. You'll absolutely destroy sales if you're a master communicator. Not many people know this, but I used to sell windows. You know the old school knock on the door? Window sales. I did window sales for 2 or 3 years, and I'd say this is one of the hardest jobs you could possibly do. And I would always recommend a young man, if he has some time to waste, to go sell windows. And the reason, it's fantastic, because I'll tell you why. It's the hardest one to sell because, 1, nobody wants them. 2, they don't know who you are. And 3, even if you convince them that they need windows, after them not knowing who you are, then they go to all your competitors and then it becomes a price war. It's a nightmare. It's the hardest sales job. If you're selling a Lambo, at least they want the Lambo, right? Nobody wants glass and plastic. They already have windows. So you got to find a way to sell them these windows. How do you do that? And that's where all this master communication comes in. And it's so many subtle little things. Being a good salesman is not necessarily being a liar. It's not being a trickster. It's just understanding what's going to make the person believe and understand what you say. If I walked in and said, would you like new windows? And they essentially said, no, we don't need new windows. Our windows look fine. I would say, but what about the security aspect? While looking at their 3-year-old child. And they'd sit there and go, what do you mean security aspect? And then I talk about how we had the lock 5000 and their locks are easy to break, as if glass isn't glass. It's all the same anyway. And you'd end up selling the windows. You have to find the triggers in people. There's another thing people don't understand about me and my message. Sometimes I sit here and I say things that piss people off because that's how you trigger people to make action. I have often written emails or done videos to, especially to men when I want to help men, to piss them off. You're a loser. You're a dumbass. Andrew, why you mean? Because you're not going to go to the gym unless I tell you you're a fucking loser. And you are a loser, and I'm not lying to you. You are a loser. The emotional trigger you need to get up off that chair is the fact that you're not important, nobody cares who you are, any girl you're ever in love with I could take, and you're insignificant. And when you die, nobody's interested. That's your fault. You could have been something else. You did that. You failed. It has to be done. You have to be a master communicator. And sometimes that involves also insulting people. It's all a massive tapestry. But to answer your question, for the 20-year-old, he needs to become a master at communicating. But also to be a master at communicating, you also need experiences worth talking about. You have to live a life. You need a degree of wisdom. And wisdom doesn't always come with age. It comes with life lived. I had a guy message me. This is a long time ago when I used to reply to my own emails. Too big now. But he said, I don't have any stories. My life's boring. I said, bro, where do you live? He said, Madrid. I said, bro, ride the train from Madrid to St. Petersburg. Ride the train from Madrid to Vladivostok. Do the Trans-Siberian Railway. Cost you like $300. Goes, oh, but what if I get robbed? Exactly! That's exactly the point! What if you get robbed? Now you have a story. Maybe you'll die, maybe you won't. But you have a story. Don't bring your watch. Have you got a Rolex? No one wants to rob you anyway. Don't worry about it. You're brokey. Get on the train. There has to be that degree of risk to even have a story, because when you have a story, then you can communicate the story. You can't be an empty vessel either. So when you say you're telling me how I build this 20-year-old into a super soldier. Yeah, he has to be a master communicator, but he also has to do things which are risky. Risk has value intrinsically linked to it, intrinsically. This is why people, when you do risky things, people want to hear the story. Your coolest stories involve risk. Something went wrong. This could have happened. I almost this. I made it out. Without these risks, you haven't got it. So I would say to the 20-year-old, do what I did. Get in the cage. Get in the ring. Knock someone out, get knocked out, train hard. Fighting will teach you everything you need to know about life. You learn everything about who you truly are. You learn if you're a coward or not. You learn everything about perseverance and hard work and dedication. Everything about being underappreciated. You learn everything about fear. You learn all of it. You learn everything about people. You win a fight, check your phone. Lose a fight, check your phone. You learn all about people. You learn all about them. You learn all about women. I learned so much about women through fighting. When I had a fight coming up and I was weight drained and I had barely eaten in weeks and I'd lost all this weight and I had a world title fight and I'm fighting a guy who might kill me and she's complaining about the toilet seat. I learned all about women. You learn a lot about life through these difficult processes and paths. And there used to be for men like a rite of passage. In most societies, you had to go through something to become a man, from a boy to a man. But that thing was always difficult. It's always been difficult. Now you have to self-induce it, self-inflict it. But if you're going to be a boy and never bring on that self-inflicted rite of passage, how are you going to ever become a man?
It's great feedback.
Do you have a little bit of a system you can share on how to make money? I know we've got CobraTate.com. We'll keep shouting it out. But any tips for someone who's ready, but they don't yet know the how?
Completely. So we teach it inside of the real world, of course. I keep mentioning it because it's so important. But there are 3 keys, I believe, to making money. The word of the day. First one's perspicacity. Most people go through life and they do not pay attention. I've said this before and I want to stick by it because it's so important. You need to pay attention to every single time you spend money because you cannot make money. You're not the Federal Reserve. You're not a government. Governments make money. All of us take money from somebody else or a business or a government. We take money from other things. So the easiest way to learn how to get good at taking money is to pay attention to every time someone takes money from you. So next time you buy a coffee, don't just buy the coffee and drink it and think nothing of it like every brokey. Don't do that. Say, okay, why am I buying this coffee? Okay, I want a coffee. All right. Why am I buying here? Well, this is on my way to work. Is there any competition around? Do I also want breakfast? Do they sell breakfast? No, they don't sell breakfast. They could probably make some more money there selling breakfast. Anyway, I walk in, there's a long line. Why is there one member of staff? I'm low on time. I'm about to leave and not buy the coffee. They're about to lose money because it's taking too long. Most of the people in this line are businessmen. Why is there not a cute girl behind the counter? I bet if they paid a cute girl a little bit more, they'd still make a bunch more money because people would come in here to talk to her. Think. And then what you'll do is, as you go through life, every time you spend money, is you'll realize the problem is not how to make money. The problem is how much time you have because there's endless business ideas. There's endless ideas. I walk into a coffee shop and by the time I've walked out, I already know exactly how to open up next door and outcompete them head to toe. I already have worked out how much is the rent, where are they fucking up, what are they not selling that they should be selling, what are they doing good, what are they doing bad, this chair is too hard, I'll wreck them. And I'll send it, and now my network is so powerful, which is the second point, network, I can send a few messages on WhatsApp and make a bank transfer. And 2 months later, there's a brand new coffee shop next door with my name on it, putting them out of business. So the first thing is you have to pay attention. Because if you pay attention, you'll start to learn that money is everywhere. Every building is owned. These are skyscrapers, bro. Billions. Every apartment nowadays is a million. You drive down a street in London, you're driving past trillions of dollars. There's money everywhere. It's all around us. When I was broke, I thought that the world was broke. I thought that there was no money. And then I got rich and realized that I was completely and utterly wrong. There's so much money. It's everywhere. If I go to try and buy a plane or a jet, they're always sold out. My yacht is a fucking 6-year waiting list. I want a Bugatti. They launch it. The email comes to my email address. 2 minutes later, gone. There's so much money. If I want a diamond watch, or a $1 million watch or $1 million Rolex. You can't get this stuff. There is so much money out there. Once you get to a certain echelon, you realize there's money fucking everywhere. So there's plenty of money in the world. People with no money are just not very good at taking it. So you need to start paying attention. It's the first thing. Second thing is network. It's hard to make money if you don't know anybody who has money. If you sit in a room full of ice cream experts and all they talk about is ice cream, how to make ice cream, the different flavors, how to store it, how to move it, how to sell it, even by accident, if you hang around with these people long enough, when someone asks you a question about ice cream, guess what you're gonna know the answer. You're gonna say, you know what? That's because it's pistachio, and that needs to be 2 degrees higher than chocolate. And you're gonna look like a smart ass. So if you sit in a room full of people who are making a bunch of money, everyone understands this. Your network is your net worth. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody understands this. And then they still hang around with fucking losers because they're dummies. You're right. I am the sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with. Anyway, this is my friend Nick. He's so funny when we go drinking because he gets really drunk. Losers. I don't talk to anybody who is not winning. Everybody whose phone, every phone call I will answer, if I answer a phone call, it is from a winner. I don't talk to losers. Everyone I talk to is rich. Everyone I talk to is making money. Everybody. If my entire reality is full of multimillionaires making money, how am I not going to make money? And this is why network is so important, is because it's the same reason that wolves hunt in packs. If you're a lone animal, you have one set of eyes. But if you're a pack, you're watching every single angle, every single side. Perhaps I might miss something. I'm as perspicacious as possible. But one of my friends identifies that the war in Ukraine is going to change and the Russian ruble is going to pump. And you can make a bunch of money on a Forex trade, for example. I may not have noticed, but he'll notice. Now I've made a bunch of $1 million for getting a text message, right? Because I have friends who are paying attention. All of us are paying attention. So your network is super important. That's another thing. We'll go into this because I have something called the War Room, which is also on corporatate.com. I'll let people read for themselves, but that's my private network. And we specifically talk about money and a few other things. But that's
is that like more like a mastermind?
It's the real world's how to make money, and the War Room's what to do with money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all on corporatate.com. I don't want to get off track, but it's there. But second is network. And third, it's to identify the reason why you don't have as much money as you want so far. And there's one of 3 reasons. You are either lazy, stupid, or arrogant. Those are the only 3 reasons anyone is poor. And you have to identify and choose which one it is. The majority of people are not the one they think they are. The majority of people are the one I'm about to say at the end. So let's start with lazy. There are a lot of lazy people. The unfortunate reality about money is that you are competing. So it's player versus player. It's like anything in the world. If you want that beautiful girl, so does everyone else. You have to win the competition. You want that car, you have to get it first. You want that money, everyone wants that money. You have to compete. It's competitive. Business is competitive. You are competing against people like me. You're competing against people like the people in my network. You're competing about people who only talk about money, who understand money very well, who operate in jurisdictions all around the planet, who are extremely well connected, who know things before you know them, who have mass influence and mass power and mass resource. You're competing against me. This is what you must understand. You're not waking up going, I want to make some money. You're competing against people like me. You're competing against billionaires. You're competing against hedge funds. How did these hedge funds keep growing? Where are they getting that money from? From the brokies. They're robbing you. They're robbing all the poor people from the pension fund. Dummy. That's where they get it from. This is who you're competing against. So the competition is absolutely and utterly fierce. Understanding that you're a man with a small pistol up against a mighty army. If you want to add a little bit of laziness on top, you're fucked. So when I say people are lazy, they go, I'm not lazy. I work hard every day. You work 8 hours a day? You work 8? The fuck? If I'm awake, I'm working. I'll be driving my Bugatti Chiron through Dubai, working. I'm texting at the same fucking time. I don't take a second off. I don't take a minute off. I don't relax. I don't rest. I don't stop. I don't chill. None. Ever. I'm either asleep or at work. That's it. Second I wake up, I check my phone, I begin working. I go to the gym in between sets, I am working. I'm online working the entire fucking day until the second I go to sleep, I am at work. That is all I do. And you are at home competing against me and you want to watch a movie tonight and then say you're not lazy. You're fucking lazy and you're going to lose forever. That's laziness. Next is stupid. I don't think many people are actually too stupid to be rich. You can be below average IQ and still get very rich. A very small percentage of people are too dumb to be rich. The slave minds, they'll never be rich because the matrix tries to keep you poor because when you're poor, you can't think like we talked about earlier. So everything the media tells you is designed to make you poor. They want you broke and struggling because if you rely on the government for food stamps, then you can't argue with the government, can you? So that's what they want. So anyone who believes in the matrix and believes in media and believes in the lies they're told, anyone who sits there and goes, that's true, that it's literally designed to make you broke. That's why it's all a scam. Do your GCSEs, do your A-levels, get in debt, go to uni, get out, get a shit job, get a mortgage. Don't worry, when you've paid that mortgage off when you're 61, then you'll have enough money to go to Spain for holiday. Then your pension comes. Oh, government doesn't have the pension money anymore. Funny enough, hedge fund stole it.
Pay half your money in your life in tax.
Oops-de-doops. And then you wake up one day and go, whoa, I just got fucked. So the whole scam, the whole story is a lie because they want you broke. They don't want you rich. If you're rich, you won't listen to them. So all of it's a fucking lie. And intrinsically, we all know this, right? When I pull up in one of my 30 cars to a gas station and people look at me and they see a Lambo or a Ferrari or a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg, whatever I'm driving, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. No, they think drug dealer, gangster. They're thinking he broke the rules because anyone who follows the rules doesn't get shit. It's all a scam. It's all a fucking lie. So the slave minds are fucked, but those are the only ones who are too stupid to make money. Anybody who understands that the matrix is lying to them is smart enough. So very small percent are too stupid. Inside of our school, at the height of it, before the matrix attack, we're relaunching now, we had 175,000 students.
Wow.
When we had 175,000 students, maybe 2,000 we kicked out for being too stupid. It's step by step. Do this, do that, do this, and don't be lazy. The fuck? It's not that hard, right? So stupid's not the problem. So we have people who are lazy, very few are stupid, but the majority, the main reason most people are broke is because they are arrogant. I will sit here and say all the things I've said. I will do this, take time out of my life for free. Somebody at home will watch and digest it for free. They will agree with the things that are being said or at least be entertained enough to continue to watch. And then I'll say, I'll teach you how to make money online. CobraTate.com, you can join the real world. And they'll sit there and go, nah, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. They have these egos from fuck knows where because they didn't earn it. And they're just too arrogant to listen to anybody. I became world champion by listening to my coach. I didn't become world champion by walking in and saying, I'll do it myself. That's not how you get anywhere in life. You have to listen. If Mike Tyson were to walk in, or if Elon Musk were to walk in here and talk to me about money, I wouldn't be sitting there going, I could do that. I'd be like, oh, Mr. Elon, richest man in the world. Hello, very nice to meet you. Please, even though I already understand I don't want to launch a car brand or put rockets in space, please, you must know some things I don't know. How do you deal with the currency fluctuations? Does inflation impact how much it costs for you to send a rocket into space? Like, I'd ask him something that's useful, right? But some people are so brutally arrogant that they'll sit here and they'll listen to all the things I said, and they'll agree that I'm intelligent, and they'll agree I'm massively successful, but they'll sit there and go, yeah, but you know what? I'll do it myself. I don't want to join that school because, I'll do it myself. They're arrogant. Everybody's fucking arrogant. I sit with people who I used to go to school with from Luton who are still broke and tell them how to make money. And you know what they do? They answer back. Yeah, but it's not that simple because, the wife gets the kid, and you know what? And I don't like to do things that way. The way I like to work. The way you like to work is why you're fucking broke. So what the fuck are you talking about? You just sat here and wasted 10 minutes of my time. I told you how to take your business of painting and decorating or whatever the fuck you're doing and make a serious amount of money, and now you're telling me the way you like to work? Then stay fucking broke. The fuck you want me to do? What level of arrogance? But this is people. They'll sit with a multimillionaire and tell you their view. Oh, I think that know when you're out qualified and accept it and learn. So we all do. I'm not going to I can't play piano for shit. If the piano teacher walked in here and said, this is what you do, and I said, well, I like to move my hands this way. What kind of dumbass? But this is the arrogance people operate under. So I'd say 20% of people are lazy, 20 to 25%. A large portion of the world are not lazy. They're actually working exceptionally hard, but they're doing the wrong thing. 5% of people are too stupid. So say 25%, 5% is 30%. But 70% of people are brutally arrogant, and this is why they are poor. That's the truth.
And how did you make your first million?
Good question. I've talked about this already. It was an unorthodox strategy. I've talked about it at length, so I won't give the whole story because it's too long. But I identified a gap. I identified a market. I approached the scenario and the situation extremely professionally. And I worked exceptionally hard. And I made my first $1 million. So my first millions came from owning a webcam studio. So I saw a little advertisement in the corner of a web page saying, "Talk to live girls now." I've never been a porn guy. I'm not interested in that shit. But I was like, that's interesting. I know some girls who need some money. Boom, boom, boom. I put together this apparatus, extremely professional. No fucking sexual misconduct. No Dan Bilzerian. No threesomes. Nothing. Very professional. 50-somes if it's down. Very professional outfit. And I used all my business knowledge and all my life knowledge, and I applied it. I worked 22-hour days, I would say. I got to the point where I was so tired. But I'd say, you know what? Give me 20 minutes. And if I could hear the alarm go off, I'd get up. Sometimes I just slept clean through it, and I slept an hour or two. For months and months and months, and I built an empire. I built an insanely large empire at one point. I'm completely out of that business now. But how did I do it?
As in, did you sell it?
I didn't sell it. I just closed it all down. I moved on. I started making a bunch of money, and I found other opportunities. But how did I get that opportunity? Perspicacy. First thing I said, pay attention. I paid attention. I looked at the girl. I'll give you the coffee shop example. This is what I did. I clicked on that advert. I saw the girl sitting there, miserable, waiting for a customer. I thought, nobody's going to buy from an unhappy bitch. The men who are paying her are trying to escape an unhappy life, or they wouldn't be doing this shit. So when I got my girls online, smile. Happy girls get paid. That was the token. That was the slogan. Happy girls get rich. Joking. Ha, ha, ha. Who's you going to pay? You're going to pay the girls like, yeah, having a blast. So I paid attention to the competition. I saw an opportunity, just like the coffee shop. So all the things they did wrong. The room was messy. Camera quality was shit. There's the basic stuff. The way the girl acted and interacted. All that stuff. And I applied it all by paying attention countless hours watching everybody else, finding the way to do it better, just like with the coffee shop, and I did it better. So I was absolutely and utterly perspicacious, and that's how you make money. And I did it with that, but I could have done it with anything. And now I do it with everything. The story of me sending a text message via my network and having a coffee shop is a true story. I've been in there maybe twice. I don't even go. And I have mechanisms in place to make sure I'm not robbed too badly, because unfortunately a little bit of cash goes missing. But everything's in place and it makes me money. I don't think I've even drunk my own coffee. I put together a list. It needs to be like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. I have competent people who work for me, which is very hard to find, but I do. They understand to follow the doctrine to the doctrine. And I'm getting money into a bank account. That's it. And you can do that with literally anything if you have a strong network and you pay attention. You can do anything. Even podcasts. We're doing a podcast right now. You guys are already big and successful at this. I'm telling you, you can look at the biggest podcasts in the world and still see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. That's the game. That's the game. And then you have to outcompete everybody else. That's how.
And what's your net worth now?
You know what's? It's kind of funny because
was that that's the shittest question so far on this show.
No, it's I don't actually really know, because they say if you don't know what you've got, they say if you know what you got, you ain't got much, and it's so fucking true. I don't know how much that coffee shop is worth. I know what it makes me roughly a month. I don't know what I could sell it for. I can guess now, like if I were to put a 6 times multiplier on it, I could guess. But then what am I going to do that for every property? How much are all my properties worth? Fuck knows. Different than when I bought them. So the price has gone up, down. I don't even check. Don't know. So how much are all the property worth? I can guess. How much the business is worth? I could guess. How much is my brand worth? If I put my name to something, it sells. I've been offered $50, $60, $70 million to sell junk to children, which I wouldn't do because I have too much morals. How much is my brand worth? I'm the most Googled man on the fucking planet. God knows. I couldn't guess. I would guess that because there's different metrics of measuring the value of, say, a business, sometimes they'll put a 3 times multiplier on it, sometimes they'll put an 8 times multiplier on it. Let's put it this way. Hustlers University, 175,000 students, was doing about $13 million a month profit. That's an online educational company. Online is the future. Education is the future. It was seamless, fantastic. It outcompeted Oxford, Cambridge, everybody. It was the best school on the planet. Not just because we had 175,000 students, because we retained 175,000 students. That's the key. 175,000 people were making more money than they invested each month. There's no other platform on the planet that can do that. We had no competition. There was no other online digital learning platform that was even 1% as close. We were the largest online digital teaching platform on the planet. And everybody wants to make money. So everybody wants to join. Male, female, rich country, poor country. That's $13 million a month that was doing. So what's that? $120, $130 million a year? 8 times multiplier? What's that worth? 800 million by itself? Like, depending how you want to estimate it, I can sit here and say I'm worth $200 million or $1 billion. I could be a billionaire with net worth for the things I own, things I'm in control of. Depends on how you want to analyze it. So the reason I sighed is because I don't have a clue how much money I'm worth. I don't know. I know that if I want shit, I get it. I know that the world is effectively free now. I'm at a point of money where I never, ever contemplate the price of anything ever. The whole world, the only way I can explain being ridiculously rich is that everything is completely free. So if you want something, even 1%, even if you want something a little bit, the cost is 0% consideration. So I have 30 cars. I tried to stop at 10, but the car owners know I'm going to buy them, right? So they decide to launch a new Lambo and they text me and go, hey, new Lambo. I don't even ask to see a picture. I'm just like, okay. Because I'm not going to notice the money going missing. So why not at least, I might only glance at it for 3 seconds. I may never even drive it. I might just go, oh, yeah, it's all right. That's worth the money to me because the money is worth nothing. So the whole world is free. If I want coffee, it's like I buy and do things like the same way a person not even buys a coffee, like a penny sweet. It's just like, oh, fuck it. All right. It doesn't mean anything. I can't explain it. I don't have a clue how much money I'm worth. I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know. I just know I can have whatever I want.
Hey, before you go, if you want to watch the full uncut interview with Andrew Tate, no holds barred, like you've never seen before, you can watch it here. And before you go, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. And remember, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.